Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and this morning we're visiting with Dr. Jordan Shockley. He is Associate Extension Professor at the University of Kentucky. Good morning, Jordan.
Good morning, Joanna. How are you?
I'm doing well. And today you're going to talk about something that we heard a lot about in the spring, but haven't really talked about a lot lately. And that's the HPAI and the economic effects it's had. So could you explain a little bit about, just give us a little bit of background information about why that's important?
Absolutely. So HPAI, or High Path Avian Influenza, is a very infectious disease that hits our poultry industry directly. And that usually, it kind of traces back to the wild bird population. And so if you think about how wildlife, especially waterfowl, go from north to south and go across some of the flyways across the United States, those flyways actually are also in the heart of poultry country across the United States. And so usually that migration occurs during, December, January, February. And that's when we began to see the beginning of this year's 2022's HPAI outbreak. And it's been significant. We've had over 40 million birds have died this year due to HPAI. And as you can imagine, when that amount of birds perish due to infection, there's trickle-down effects all across the board.
We didn't have that type of effect in the state of Kentucky, correct?
That's correct. There's only been 2 confirmed cases of HPAI, and that was early on. Most of the impacts have been in your Midwestern states, specifically Iowa. And so if you think about the 40 million birds that have been impacted this year, over 75% have been in commercial layer operations. And so when you have that many layers, egg layers, right, that's going to directly impact supply at the grocery store.
You mentioned this happened like in the spring. We started, because of the migration, and it was probably one of the peak times for purchase of eggs during around Easter. That holiday is a high demand for eggs. And so we were in a definite shortage, and then coupled with that high demand, but we really haven't seen that taper off.
While it's slower to kind of taper off and get out of here, we're still seeing the impacts. And weirdly enough, this one is widespread across the United States. We've got roughly 37 states impacted by HPAI outbreak going coast to coast.
And, I had people ask, like a chicken, obviously 21 days to hatch and then for it to get to maturity, but that time frame, but there's also quarantines and time out of production that come into play with this. And so it's not that we can get the bird raised and back in production. There's other factors that go along with that.
Absolutely. So when there is a HPI outbreak, because it is so infectious and so serious, USDA APHIS comes in and basically puts a quarantine zone around that area where they'll test up to a certain radius of infection in animals in that area. And once they've kind of cleared that quarantine zone, then begins the depopulation and cleaning and testing so that you can then re-enter and get a new chicks placed to grow. And so that could be up to 120 days. The USDA pays close attention and very strict protocols on what can leave and that facility that gets infected, and make sure that it is completely clean and safe for the reentrance of product.
Absolutely. Well, Jordan, certainly appreciate you sharing this information, shedding some light on the question that we've all been getting: why are eggs higher in the grocery store? But if you have questions, he's written an article and it's in the economics department's newsletter. If you'd like to get a copy of that and subscribe, make sure to contact your local extension office. Thanks for watching and have a great day.